Hey pedalers, welcome back to another vlog. We're riding to meet Georgian Sagan. So he looks like PETER Sagan, but he's a national rider, so we're gonna be riding with him today. That's gonna be a good solid training. I had a flat tire last time I rode with him, so I couldn't ride, so I had to mount my tubeless tire, and my hands are destroyed. If you know anything about tubeless, you know when you try mounting them, it's basically impossible. So it's busy today. We're downtown, we're trying to get out of the city. Nice scenery, nice training. Got the GoPro, let's go. So I'm currently waiting for Georgian Sagan. This is the meeting spot that he told me to meet him at, but I think he's running late. But then again, I was running late. If I can show you the damage, look at that blister from tubeless tires. So mounting them absolutely, that looks crazy. It absolutely sucks. So it's hard getting Continental tires here, but one bike shop had it and it was like 23 millimeters, and I was like, bro, I want 25. So right now at the back of my tire, or the back of my bike, it's a Mavic, and at the front it's a GP 4000. So anyways, it's busy here. I want to get out of the main city and just go riding. So I'm waiting for him. I don't know if he's lost. Probably not, but I'm happy I didn't come early, basically. So let's wait for him. I met up with Sagan. Say hi, Sagan. Hello. Good ride today? Long ride? Easy? Which one? Easy or hard? Oh, he has the tubes just in case, but easy or hard ride? Easy, hard, good what? Good what? Yeah, okay, so we're gonna ride. There will be GoPro footage, but he's gonna take me out of the city right now. Easy ride up this mountain. Such good training. Actually crazy. I'm loving it, I'm loving it. This is not like Canada. Now, if anyone's curious what Georgian Sagan's real name is, it's Georgi, but in English that's George. So Georgian Sagan is a fitting name, especially because he looks like him. But in terms of this ride, it was 70 kilometers in length, 3 hours long, with about 700 meters of elevation. Now, this ride is nothing intense. I'm just coming back from surgery and being off the bike for quite some time, so just getting the legs stretched pretty much, just getting them used to riding, and hopefully soon enough these mountains and the pace will increase once I get back to my race form and shape. So just taking it easy, him showing me around the city, very nice, very fun. And we did do some efforts on this ride, but nothing spectacular because I'm not trying to burn myself out while I'm getting back to the shape, you know, taking it easy. Don't want to put the body on such a stress load. So very chill around the whole city, Tbilisi, the main city in Georgia, the capital. So right now we're just getting ready for the first climb. Chill pace, nothing really spectacular going on. But one thing I really want to note is that the cars are really respectful, and that's one thing I really don't experience in Canada, especially with trucks, is that they come really close. And I thought coming to a country like Georgia, European, that people would be a lot more aggressive driving, and that is somewhat true in terms of them being aggressive, but they use common sense a lot more. And that's not to throw shade in North America or Canada or Toronto where I'm from. I'm just saying that a lot of drivers are used to scooters and actually sharing the road with two-wheeled vehicles. So the fact that they respect us as cyclists is such a blessing, even though cycling is not popular in Georgia whatsoever. It's very rare to see a cyclist, but it's not rare to see a scooter. So the average driver or truck driver treats it as if they're seeing a scooter, and they actually pass with significant difference in terms of space. So I feel very safe when compared to when I would ride in Toronto, Canada. So this is basically the last descent until we get to the climb. And the climb, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, is about 7 kilometers in length with an average gradient of 5 to 6%. So in terms of it being a proper climb, it definitely is. And you want to come into this section with some speed, so you get into the climb, obviously, with less effort and less exhaust on your legs. So right now, we're taking it easy. You can see we're very confident in terms of having a good space of the road and not feeling like a car is going to come too close. And that's really important, because if you are able to feel safe while riding and training, then you're obviously going to feel encouraged to ride more, because it's not going to feel so stressful riding. So right now, Georgian Sagan is telling me Well, the climb has just started and it's already 10% gradient. The watts are going up to almost 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, because I'm not assuming this climb is really long. I've never been on this route, so I'm thinking this climb is going to be a very short one, and I could be totally wrong. And that's what he basically tells me. He says, you're going to have a hard time keeping this pace for the next 7 kilometers. So I start dropping the pace, obviously, because I thought it was going to be a short climb, and we're coming around the bend of the climb right now, like at least the initial section. And usually in Canada, the climb would be done. So we'd be looking at about maybe 600 meters at 5, 6, 7% gradient. And then right now we would be descending, but in Georgia and in Europe where there's mountains, that is never the situation in terms of climbs. When someone says it's a proper climb, it's definitely going to be at least 3 kilometers in length. So he's on his phone checking the route, and right now we're doing 7% climb still, and you can see the RPM's pretty low. Obviously you don't want to be spinning that low, but the watts are pretty good, pushing around high 200s. And like I said, there's lots of trucks, at least on this section, and he was telling me that sometimes they do bunch up. So depending on the route and how popular it is or how busy it is, or in this situation there was a truck that was carrying a load of rocks or whatever material they were carrying, that they had to go slow. I guess that slows down the vehicle. So all these other trucks that I guess are just normal transport trucks had to slow down because they couldn't pass them safely. So you see the other cars can pass a little bit easier, but it just made the whole section pretty slow, which is pretty good for us because that means no one can really pass us with speed. And you can see that we still have a lot of separation between us and the truck. So, you know, this is a proper climb, 6% gradient, bouncing from forward. Like they have different pitches on this climb, but you see Sagan is stepping out on the pedals. So it's just so good to really not have to think about wattage, in the sense that if I was really tackling this climb, eventually I will do that on the channel. I'll go after KOMs I think are epic here or anywhere in Europe and try to take them. I think it would be good fun. But in terms of training, it's nice when you go on a climb, because to put down the power, I do find it a little bit easier than doing it on a flat road. Now obviously I love doing that because it's like high pace, high speed work, which we do in this video, so I'm excited to show that as well, to show you the wattage. But in terms of a climb for training, it's so nice that you don't really have to think necessarily how hard you're going. The climb will dictate that. So you can see right now we're in the high 200s, low 300s, and that's what we're balancing around. And I don't really have to think about this. Right now Sagan is setting the pace. I think it took us around 27 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, on this climb, and he has the KOM on it, surprisingly, of about 12 to 13 minutes. So when he went up this by himself, I think that was last year, he went full gas. So he definitely knows how to do this climb properly. And eventually, once I get back to my form and you know you have the head unit, you know roughly how long, how much wattage it should take you, tackling a KOM is pretty easy. Now a lot of these riders, unfortunately, they don't ride with a head unit or a power meter, so for them pacing is a lot more feel. So I find it very like true to authentic racing, in the sense of you're just riding based on intuition, by feel. So definitely these cyclists, at least in Georgia, could really up their training if they ever do get power meters and head units. But a lot of the times and a lot of the KOMs, if you guys are interested, are just set by basically having a rough idea of the time and then just going off by their phones or of that nature. So hats off to them, because that's very tough if you're used to training just by feel. So with that being said, we're almost, I'm pretty sure, cresting the top. This climb was obviously, you know, challenging if you're not in peak form or have been training, but still, just mentally, I will talk about those videos of how I've been able to climb relatively easy, even though I have been off the bike for basically 9 months of outside training at least. So right now we're descending, we basically finished it, and now he's pointing out the road. Now I don't know what this is specifically, but it kind of has like a little hill, and I guess that's to tell drivers that they're coming too close to the edge. So maybe it's like to wake them up, but I found that very sketchy because, you know, in Canada we're used to the actual divots in the road that wake you up. So this was kind of weird riding so close to it, because it was a proper little speed bump. So I didn't feel that safe. You know, if my front wheel got a speed wobble, if you have to take more of the road up, it's kind of sketchy. But you see that car literally goes in the other lane, that truck, and you can see the trucks are just so respectful. And that's one thing I'm really amazed here, because I never experienced that in Toronto, Canada. So right now we're going back into the city. We basically finished the descent, finished the climb, very good climb, and now we're going on the highway. And that's one thing I want to note. I have another good video where we go on a proper highway, but this is like the low-key highway back to the city. And in Georgia you can actually ride on the highway, which I find amazing, and I'll tell you why. Sagan is behind me, and we've done a lot of climbing. 6%. Sagan didn't drop me, so I'm feeling pretty good. Feels good. And we're just riding back to the city right now. So right now, like I was saying before you guys watch that part, I was explaining how driving on the highway, or riding on the highway specifically, is so enjoyable because it's so hard to find a section of road with no stop signs, no road lights. Like, that is so hard to find in Toronto, Canada. Even when you go to, you know, the countryside, it's very hard to find that. There's always four ways. And the only time I could really find that was at an outdoor track that was actually paved. So usually running tracks are actually, they have some type of loose gravel for the runners, but the track near my house was paved. So I used to do laps around that, but then you have silly runners, you have people with kids. Like, I'm not saying that they can't enjoy the track, it's just hard when you're trying to do intervals. So the fact that you have basically a lane to yourself, and this is proper, this is a long, I would say at least 10 kilometers. So the fact that you can just go, and right now, I think I was taking a video, or I was just getting distracted, but we actually broke the KOM for the section without even trying. And you know, we're hitting 300 watts. We're doing a somewhat of a proper pace line, like we're rotating with each other. He's seeing how far I am. I catch back on. I'm like, I'll do some work. I was slacking. I was a little distracted, and we're maintaining around 300, 350 watts. The cadence is obviously there, and it was raining before, and you know, I was pretty tired after the climb, but I have a really good second wind to me usually when I ride. So right now, if I was doing this pace when I got here, my BPMs would be at least in the high 80s. So the fact that, you know, I've been slowly finding my form, even though I haven't been doing that much training, I was really working hard on the Tour de France. So now the fact I can slowly get back into things, like, I am so excited in terms of just getting my form back there. And like I was saying, I just really want to highlight the fact that this is a blessing for a cyclist, where you can ride on flat, paved road and not have to stop for over 10 to 15 kilometers if you really want to. And in the next video that I ride with Sagan for training, we actually go on a proper highway that you have a dedicated, like, you know, lane, where usually the lane is for when people have to work on their cars. No one bothers you, and it is so beautiful. It's flat. So if you're doing TT, you know, efforts, or just want to do really hard pace line efforts like we're doing right now, where we're rotating, like, this is a blessing. And I don't know how many European countries are designed like this, where you're allowed to ride your bike on the road, because I still think that is not common in a lot of countries. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also, there are countries where there's obviously more dead roads, where I just always experienced just really bad four-way stops and a lot of stop signs. So I never found like a good loop where I could really have 10 kilometers uninterrupted. Like, maybe I would find 3 to 5 kilometers, but never 10 kilometers. And I'm not saying that you can't stop for, like, do a rolling stop, even though that's against law, but you can't just like slowly slow down and go and continue your intervals. I'm just saying, like, this is such a blessing because it's just awesome. Like, there's no other way. Like, you can hear in my voice, like, I'm just so lucky that I have you know, this training ground to really just accelerate my training. So right now, 90 RPMs, 400 watts, just keeping it easy, high 300 watts. And you know, when you're behind someone doing intervals, obviously your wattage is not going to be the same. That's why they're on the front, obviously taking the wind, and you're conserving. And as long as you're rotating efficiently, then you'll be really able to set a really hard pace line. So the fact that we broke the KOM, and he is a national rider, I always got to remind you. Now, obviously Georgia is not the equivalent of, you know, top nations in terms of cycling, in terms of Great Britain, or you know, France, Spain, Italy, so on and so forth. But you know, if you're riding your bike 20-25 hours a week, like, you are going to be a pretty strong cyclist. So I'm pretty impressed with the form that I currently have, but this is only the start of it. So the whole point of these videos is really to show you guys what I'm doing on the bike, where I'm riding, show you guys what I'm learning, and I'm very excited. The next video with him is going to be epic. I also have another ride that I'm doing with him that's going to be epic as well. So if you guys like this, you know, just like the video, subscribe, comment. I really try to read everything and really tailor my content to what you guys appreciate and find helpful. But in terms of power, obviously, I think we can all agree that Sagan is obviously on another level, being a 3-time world champion. But in terms of Georgian Sagan's power, flair, he reminds me a lot of Sagan, just a very showman. You know, he's very eager to work, you know, work hard on the bike, never give up, like all that. I really do see with him, and it's very refreshing. And obviously it looks like him, so I think it's a little funny, cheeky play on words in terms of riding with Georgian Sagan. So that about wraps it up. What a great pace line that we did there. Now, I just finished riding with PETER Sagan, or at least the Georgian version, and I'm really happy that my tire actually stayed fully pumped up, because that was really annoying because it's tubeless. I was scared that it was not going to hold, and even though I have a tube in it, it's fine. Just mentally, I've already had 2 flats since I've been here, so it's nice knowing that's gonna stay. But this was the end result of trying to mount it. So the tubeless tires are one of the hardest tires to mount, I found. It was a really good ride, roughly 70 kilometers with around 800 meters of elevation. So good to slowly get into the mountains. I'm really gonna start revving up my training and training at altitude very soon, but obviously don't wanna do it too fast and too soon. And I do wanna show you guys the setup on my bike right now, but that's basically the end of the vlog. So I hope you guys did appreciate it. Really fun, more of these videos, more training videos to come. Really break down everything I'm learning, everything I'm trying to get better and really refine in terms of cycling and fitness and all that stuff. So I'll show you my bike and then it's pretty much the end of the video. This is my TCR right now. I'll give you guys a quick rundown because a lot of you guys are curious. I got the 1030 head unit right here, the GoPro Hero 9, raffle bar bag that basically keeps everything in terms of extra food. I got the sticky bottles for hydration. Right now I have the Continental GP4000s on the front, but the back wheel had a big slash in it. So I had to put on the Mavic tubeless tires, but the thing is that they're not tubeless anymore since I'm not running the front one because I was having problems with the tubeless here. And it's easier to have a tube if you ever have a flat. I have the Uru case saddlebag. So basically this has a tube in it, but it was just so hard mounting it because the bead is not as flexible as just a normal clincher. So that's basically it. I have an 1132 at the back, 105 group set, as a lot of you guys know. Ultegra dual-sided giant power meter. And then I have the Garmin Varia on the back to let me know when cars come. And this setup has been really solid so far. Obviously getting rid of the giant rims was the best decision I ever did because I don't have any problems now, knock on wood. So that basically wraps it up. So if you guys want to stay up to date with my training, the videos, all that stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until the next one, keep on pedaling.